Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
It's the year of the cicadas, and the noisy bugs are expected to hit Athens and Nelsonville harder than anywhere else in the state. Good evening, I'm Catherine Blaine. Thanks for joining us. The mating season begins this spring as cicadas emerge from the ground. Ohio University's professor of biological sciences, Matthew White, says cicadas aren't here to harm anything. They're only here for one thing, and that's mating.
If there are any negative consequences, it's when they start to lay eggs, they lay them on the underside of the branches. And in doing so, they have to actually make a little cut in the bark to lay the egg. And if enough of that happens, it can weaken the branch. But typically, it's not that big of a deal.
Cicadas are expected to start emerging by late May to early June. Athens Police Department says the city has seen a 27% increase in rape calls between 2014 and 2015. But the APD also reports fewer calls for miscellaneous sex offenses in that same period. The report says there were no arrests for rape in 2015 and only one in 2014. One member of the Victim Advocates Group says the increase may be a result of the loss of the university's student advocacy program.
I definitely think that there's been an increase in rape calls because we don't have SAP anymore. And I don't know how many people would turn to SAP, but that was an option that a lot of people would recommend. Like if they came to rape culture and said, hey, I was sexually assaulted, like what can I do? We would direct them to SAP.
The organization is holding a rally next Saturday to raise awareness of sex crimes in the city. You can find more information on their Facebook page. And a Guysville man is accused of manufacturing meth, and police say he may be involved with several meth labs. Gerald Douglas Jr. is in the Southeastern Ohio Regional Jail under a $40,000 bond. He was arrested last week when law enforcement took down a probable meth manufacturing operation. Investigators believe Douglas is a person of interest in several meth manufacturing operations in the Athens area. The Ohio Supreme Court will not hear the appeal of a New York doctor convicted of raping an Athens woman. Charles Nugent was convicted of a 2010 rape, kidnapping, and burglary, and sentenced to 3 10-year prison terms. Nugent appealed the sentence, claiming he should be able to serve them concurrently, but the appeals courts disagreed. He's not scheduled for release from prison until 2039. And the growing number of heroin addicts in Ohio is having a nasty side effect. Hepatitis C is on the rise in Athens County, with the number of cases doubling in the past year. The Post reports hepatitis C cases increased from 98 to 180 this year. Between 2003 and 2012, more than a third of Ohio counties doubled the number of Hep C cases. Most people became infected with Hep C by sharing drug needles. And after a month-long investigation, a man is behind bars for trafficking heroin into Athens County. Eric Miller of Westerville is being charged with the possession of heroin and heroin trafficking. The Athens County Prosecutor's Office worked with the Columbus Police Department to make the arrest. The Prosecutor's Office has more information as a result of Miller's arrest and will be working to track down the rest of those involved in what the office release called a criminal enterprise. Ohio University has seen an increase in students enrolling as an education major, but the number of new teachers graduating from all colleges in Ohio has actually dropped, more than 1/4 since 2004. Part of that is because of the pay, but a big part of the drop is what's expected of those making a career in the classroom and new requirements for getting into the program. WOUB reporter Kellyanne Stitz takes a deeper look.
One factor is the higher expectations students have to meet to get into the education program.
I think it's mainly because the curriculum is getting harder for the class of 2018 for all education majors. Besides having the 2.75 that we need to get into the program originally, we now have to have a 3.0 and we have to be able to maintain that 3.0.
Not only has Ohio University raised its standards for prospective teachers, the state is putting more pressure on teachers as well.
I think it has to do with a lot of standardized testing because it's getting placed a lot more on the teacher and sort of the student at the same time. Like a teacher's job is sort of becoming dependent on how the students do in class.
Another problem is pay. Often, new teachers face thousands in college debt to work in a profession that doesn't pay the bills.
Some people might be worried they won't be able to find a well-paying job right out of college.
Like, we don't get paid enough for how much schooling that we have to go through and how much we work, because a lot of teachers end up working like 55 hours a week during the school year.
But if teachers go into the right subject, the jobs are out there. Students majoring in education aren't seeking specializations that school districts need most, like math and science, leaving school districts scrambling looking for those certain teachers. The main concern is the lack of degrees in specialties in which they are needed most.
I know, especially with math, there's a big stigma that has to go with math. Like, a lot of people hate it from the minute that they don't understand it. So I think people that are actually specializing in math, that's why the school districts are like eating them up real quick, because there's like no one out there that has that specialization.
Ohio University's Chair of Teacher Education, Franz Doppen, says he's seen an increase in student enrollment at Ohio University. He credits this increase in enrollment to the partnerships and clinical models offered by the Patton College of Education. He also believes their teacher candidates value the experiences they receive in the field, which allow them to make meaningful connections between theory and practice and become well-prepared novice teachers.
All right, well, thank you, Kellyanne. And Dobbin says he hopes to continue to see an increase in prospective new teachers at Ohio University. Children in Athens County will soon begin life on a healthier note. This is thanks to a $7.5 million grant. The federal home visiting program will receive money to serve counties with high rates of low birth weight infants and families living in poverty. Athens County has the highest rate of poverty in the state.
Good evening and welcome to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Ananda Harris. Over the last week, we've seen some crazy weather across the U.S. with storms in the south and snow up to the northwest. We didn't see anything that crazy here in Ohio, but we did see a pretty windy and chilly weekend. Today it was a little bit nicer here with highs in the 60s, and right now we're finishing off the day at 51 degrees in Athens with winds out of the northwest at 15 miles per hour. We will drop down into the 20s tonight across the region as a low pressure system with a cold front moves into the region. Temperatures will be 25 as the low in Athens, 25 again up in Columbus, and a little bit warmer at 29 down in Ironton. Though we won't see any snow, much of the region is under a freeze warning until 9 a.m. tomorrow. That means temperatures will drop below 32 degrees, so make sure you bring any vulnerable plants or crops inside or cover them. Thanks. Back to you, Catherine.
All right, well, thanks, Ananda. So, hey, it looks like spring is here in Athens. Not really the case everywhere, though. We know that April showers bring May flowers, but what about April snow showers? Yesterday, snow and wind swept through the streets of Chicago. Snow accumulation reached ½ an inch in some spots, and a wind advisory was in effect. The scene in the Windy City looked more like December than early April. The snow created problems for drivers as the snow created slippery roads. A man accused of killing his mother and girlfriend while high is now changing his plea. Travis Bonham initially pleaded not guilty to charges including aggravated murder and weapons-related counts in Knox County last fall. Investigators say Bonham admitted to shooting his mother and girlfriend while high on bath salts. Bonham's public defender hasn't returned calls seeking comment during this case. And more than 100 residents are displaced after a Huntington apartment complex went up in flames. Fire officials confirmed that smoke detectors inside the flats on 4th near Marshall University didn't go off when the building caught fire. Firefighters quickly contained the flames, but it took a while to stop the smoke and account for everyone that lived there. The building's owner has agreed to put his displaced residents up in a hotel until the building can be cleaned, but no one was hurt during the incident. And a number of West Virginia has seen a record of bald eagles nest with chicks this spring. The Charleston Gazette-Mail reports 8 nests have been observed along the New River. 6 other nests are being monitored for the presence of young eagles. Now there are estimated to be more than 100 nesting pairs in West Virginia. And coming up, find out what major way the 2016 Olympic Games may look different than all the other Olympics in the past. That story, plus thousands more refugees are being sent away from Greece. We'll have the latest information next on Newswatch.
Really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open. You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us. Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
The student body here at Ohio University absolutely is a family.
The students support one another.
You become this unit, this big, friendly family unit.
There's this connectedness.
You feel a part of something.
Driving in on the highway and just seeing the red bricks and the trees again, it's just like coming back home.
There's great students, great professors.
You just walk around campus and think, oh my gosh, I can't believe I go here.
I feel like I matter in the community, and I feel like I matter here at Ohio University.
It's home. Athens is home. My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open. You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Google has removed an app made by the Taliban from its Play Store. The Taliban app was first discovered on Friday by Site Intel Group, a website devoted to tracking jihadists online. The propaganda product was taken down shortly thereafter. The app, called Amalra, gave people the ability to keep up with the latest Taliban news. They could watch videos made by the group and read stories and updates written in Pashto. With only 4 months to go before the 2016 Olympics in Rio de Janeiro, officials say half of the tickets remain unsold. Brazil's sports minister says they're looking for ways to boost sales. The government may even purchase tickets to distribute to public schools. Brazil is currently in the midst of a political upheaval and massive protests, with lawmakers considering a request to impeach the president, Dilma Rousseff. The country's economy is also collapsing, suffering the worst recession in 25 years. It's also unclear whether construction of the Olympic facilities will be finished, as organizers have faced steep funding constraints. The budget was slashed by $500 million in January, and there's concern that Brazil won't be able to attract tourists to the Games over fears about high crime rates and terrorism. Brazil plans to use twice as many security agents that were used during the Games in London in 2012. Athletes and health experts are also raising concerns about the mosquito-borne Zika virus that have lobbied for the Games to be postponed, but Brazilian officials have opposed the idea. And many have risked their lives to try to reach Europe, but the fate of thousands of migrants and refugees is uncertain right now. A controversial and much criticized deal between the European Union and Turkey is taking effect. Boats are beginning to take migrants from Greece back across the Aegean Sea to Turkey. Ankara agreed to take in migrants who arrived in Greece illegally after March 20th and who either failed to apply for asylum or were rejected. For each Syrian that Turkey receives, it will send another vetted Syrian to Europe for resettlement. Tensions are running high in parts of Greece, where refugees and migrants now wait to see what happens next. And Ted Cruz is campaigning in Wisconsin ahead of tomorrow's primary during an event in Madison. He said the GOP race is really down to just him and Donald Trump, and the Republican base is coming together to support him.
There are now effectively two campaigns, two candidates who have any plausible path at winning the Republican nomination, me and Donald Trump. And what we're seeing is the party unifying behind our campaign. Of those 17 original candidates, 5 are supporting this campaign. Rick Perry, Lindsey Graham, Jeb Bush, Carly Fiorina, and Wisconsin's own Governor Scott Walker. When you add to that Senator Mike Lee and Mark Levin, You've got the full spectrum of the Republican Party, the full ideological spectrum.
Meanwhile, John Kasich insists he still has a shot at the GOP presidential nomination, at least at a contested convention. And on Wall Street today, stocks start the week lower than expected, considering last week's highs.
After a mild day today, we're going to see a cold front push into the region tonight. Just how cold will it get? And will we see some April snow showers? All that plus the extended forecast coming up on Newswatch.
Body here at Ohio University absolutely is a family.
The students support one another.
You become this unit, this big, friendly family unit.
There's this connectedness.
You feel a part of something.
Driving in on the highway and just seeing the red bricks and the trees again, it's just like coming back home.
There's great students, great professors.
You just walk around campus and think, oh my gosh, I can't believe I go here.
I feel like I matter in the community, and I feel like I matter here at Ohio University.
It's home. Athens is home. Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
The student body here at Ohio University absolutely is a family.
The students support one another.
You become this unit, this big, friendly family unit.
There's this connectedness.
You feel a part of something.
Driving in on the highway and just seeing the red bricks and the trees again, it's just like coming back home.
There's great students, great professors.
You just walk around campus and think, oh my gosh, I can't believe I go here.
I feel like I matter in the community, and I feel like I matter here at Ohio University.
It's home. Athens is home. My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Welcome back to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Ananda Harris. We are finishing off the day at 51 degrees here in Athens. Winds are out of the northwest at 15 miles per hour. Nice end to our day, but temperatures will drop down a bit for the next few days. More on that in a bit. Today, temperatures were right around average for our high 61 degrees. I know it still felt a little bit on the chilly side after last week having highs in the 70s, but we are right around normal. Our low was actually about 10 degrees above normal at 50 degrees for today, so that was a fairly nice treat because it's going to get a lot colder in the next couple days. Here's our precipcast showing low pressure moving off to our east right now. That's giving us a few lingering showers, but those should die off into the next few hours of the night. And we'll see those move east along with that cold front, which will continue to push through our region as we go overnight, dropping temperatures down quite a bit as we go into morning. And for tomorrow, everything will have moved completely eastward, and we'll see high pressure dipping down from Michigan, giving us some nice sunny skies, which will make the chillier temperatures hopefully not seem quite as bad tomorrow. Right now across the board, we are in the 50s and 60s down south, but up north where we've already seen that cold front start to push in, we are in the 30s and 40s. And overnight tonight, we'll see temperatures drop down to 29 degrees by 4 a.m. after those skies start to clear, that cold front pushes through. And across the region, lows will all be in the low to mid-20s tonight. 25 are low up in the capital of Columbus, 25 in Athens as well. A little bit warmer down south at 29 in Ripley and Ironton. And with those cold temperatures, we do have a freeze warning in effect until 9 a.m. tomorrow, at which time temperatures will start to get a little bit warmer. Overnight tonight, again, the low 25 degrees. Biggest issue tonight are going to be those chilly temps, so make sure you bundle up. Tomorrow morning, still very chilly at our bus stop, 28 degrees for tomorrow morning, But as we go through the day, we'll start to warm up, getting up to our high of 46 degrees by 4 p.m. with mostly sunny skies tomorrow. And it'll be a little bit chilly, but the winds will die down. Tomorrow, highs all in the mid-40s across the region, and for our 7-day, we'll see those temperatures start to warm up a little bit again on Wednesday, but as we go through our weekend, it's going to get pretty chilly with highs in the 40s and lows in the mid-20s on Saturday and Sunday. Over to you, Catherine.
All right, well, thank you, Ananda. Hopefully some warm weather does come our way, though, because Athens is now part of America's biggest scavenger hunt. Geocaching is a free, family-friendly game where players track down exact coordinates to find hidden prizes. Many people will take a prize and then leave one in return for the next player to find. Go to www.geocaching.com to find all of the instructions for the Athens area hunts.
Baseball and softball both squared off with Ball State over the weekend, and I will preview the NCAA National Championship next on Newswatch. Here's a look at what's coming up on your public television station.
Really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us. Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
The student body here at Ohio University absolutely is a family.
The students support one another.
You become this unit, this big, friendly family unit.
There's this connectedness.
You feel a part of something.
Driving in on the highway and just seeing the red bricks and the trees again, it's just like coming back home.
There's great students, great professors.
You just walk around campus and think, oh my gosh, I can't believe I go here.
I feel like I matter in the community, and I feel like I matter here at Ohio University.
It's home. Athens is home. My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Welcome back. I'm Matt Stevens. What a jam-packed weekend it was in sports. Former Ohio State quarterback and Heisman Trophy recipient Troy Smith was arrested earlier Sunday morning on suspicion of drunk driving in Westerville. The former fifth-round NFL draft pick was originally pulled over for failing to display his front license plate. Smith was found in possession of marijuana and blew almost 2 times the legal limit, according to police. Smith was released later Sunday afternoon and is expected to appear in court on Wednesday. Troy Smith is not alone in regards to legal troubles. Retired U.S. women's soccer forward Abby Wambach was arrested earlier Sunday morning in Portland, Oregon. She was charged with misdemeanor driving under the influence of intoxicants. The FIFA World Cup champion and gold medalist was pulled over after failing to stop at a red light, according to Monmouth County Sheriff's Office. Wambach was released on her own recognizance and is expected to appear in court on an undetermined date. North Carolina and Villanova will meet this evening to decide college basketball's national champion, following 2 blowout wins. The Wildcats unleashed a 95-51 beatdown against Oklahoma over the weekend, while North Carolina routed Syracuse 83-63. Tip-off tonight is set for 9:19 on TBS. Yesterday, the 2016 Major League Baseball season kicked off. Among the contests, There was a World Series rematch that concluded with a 4-3 Royals victory. The Red Sox and Indians game scheduled for this evening has been postponed. However, the Reds are currently in the bottom of the 8th, leading 4-2 over the Phillies. The Ohio baseball team concluded a 3-game MAC series with Ball State over this weekend. The Cardinals took 2 of 3 in the series in an impressive fashion, taking a 20-3 victory yesterday afternoon. The Bobcats will return tomorrow in a date with Eastern Kentucky. First pitch is set for 6 p.m. While the baseball squad fell to the Cardinals of Ball State, so did the Ohio softball team. The Cats were swept in their 3-game series. The 3 losses over the weekend now puts the Cats at 2-4 in the MAC. Ohio will look to bounce back in MAC play tomorrow for a doubleheader with Kent State. First pitch is set for 1 p.m. The Ohio University track and field team returned home over the weekend, and boy did they take advantage of that opportunity. Newswatch reporter Matt Cudahy recaps the stellar weekend for the green and white.
45 degrees and winds reaching 20 miles per hour is not the ideal weather conditions for a track meet. But the Ohio University track and field team seemed unfazed as they turned out a dominating performance this weekend at the Cherry Blossom Invitational. For runners, a cold, windy, and rainy day can prove to be challenging. But Coach Clay Calkins believes that it becomes mind over matter at that point.
Yeah, it's tough on these days. You know, as the day gets colder and colder, there's not a lot of things you can do. You just got to stay mentally tough and try to get prepared for your race and warmed up as much as possible.
However, the weather didn't seem to affect the Bobcats as they cruised to victories in the 100, 400, and 800 meter dashes, the long jump, the high jump, the 5K, the 4x400 meter relay, and the javelin throw. The Cherry Blossom Invitational also marked the first time OU has competed at home this year, but the team's preparation didn't change for this weekend.
We're going to meets up in Wisconsin and other Virginia and stuff like that. It's still, we just get our runs in, and preparing for the home meet versus a different meet is really there's no difference in training or preparation.
With it being Senior Appreciation Day as well as Mom's Weekend, overall the Cherry Blossom Invitational shaped up to be a great weekend at home for the Bobcats, weather aside.
I mean, it's great. The kids love it, running at home, and family and friends can come and watch. And it's not a bus ride to another place, and then you have a bus ride home after the meet. So it's great to be at home.
Reporting for Newswatch at noon, I'm Matt Cudahy.
Back to you, Catherine.
And it's that time of the year again for the Athens International Film Festival. The festival, which will be screening 257 films, has started today. Director of the Film Fest, David Colagiovanni, says the independent films for the fest are one of a kind.
It's a great opportunity to see films of all types that you can't see on Netflix or TV or Amazon or whatever. So, and they're far more interesting than what you can see there usually too.
The film screenings are free for all students, and the festival runs from today until this Sunday, April 10th. Now let's take a look at final weather with Ananda.
Thanks, Catherine. Chilly temps are on the way, but right now in Athens, it's 51 degrees, so you can go out and enjoy that while we still have a few minutes of sunlight left in the day. As we go overnight, though, skies will start to clear up. We'll see temperatures drop down to 29 degrees by 4 a.m. Tomorrow will be a little bit warmer, but it'll be chillier as we go toward the weekend. Tomorrow, 47 degrees. Wednesday will warm up a little bit more at 65, but we will see the chance for rain on Wednesday, Thursday, and on Friday. We'll see a chance for snow as temperatures are 45 degrees. For the weekend, it'll get sunny again. Over to you, Catherine.
All right, thanks a lot. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Catherine Blaine. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime you need at WOUB.org. As always, have a great night.
Students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
my favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni